So our next guest is a Hell's Kitchen winner and award-winning chef looking to share a healthier approach to cuisines that are often underrepresented in cookbooks.
She's here today with Gordon Ramsey approved recipes from Spice Kitchen, healthy Latin and Caribbean cuisine. Please join me in welcoming Ariel Fox to the show.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Well, listen, there have been over 20 seasons of Hell's Kitchen, and you were only the second winner to turn down the prize of serving as executive chef at Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen restaurant at Caesar's Palace in Vegas. Why'd you decide to do that? Or not do that, I suppose?
That was a very tough phone call I had to make.
Okay, what was behind that?
You know what? It had been a long time since we filmed. We actually filmed 2 years before it aired.
Wow.
In that time, I had met my husband, was having a baby, had a brand new job, and I basically had to call Chef Gordon and say, you know what, I'm really not ready to move to Las Vegas with an infant and work at Caesar's Palace. So he was very understanding, and we were on good terms after that.
Wow.
Thank God. But
Wow.
that was a tough conversation.
Yeah.
Well, clearly on good terms because he's actually written the foreword to this book. He has only glowing things to say about these recipes and said that you are welcome to work in any one of his kitchens around the world.
Wow.
So that is impressive. Were you surprised?
I was. I did not expect that. When I reached out and I got the actual forward, I was just, was beside myself. So I've got that one in my back pocket, just in case one day I ever need to give him a call. I know I can go work, for sure.
So a lot of your work is about making healthier Latin and Caribbean dishes. And so you did a lot of the dishes today that we're going to dive into with something called cashew crema. What is that?
So cashew crema is basically a substitute that can work for cream cheese, creme fraiche, mayo. It's super healthy, good fat, removing out that processed fat, and it's really easy to make. It's two things. It's water and cashews, and if you soak them overnight, you blend them all together, it's super creamy, and it can be flavored in a million different ways, and we've used it in everything on this table.
Wow, I love that.
So as you mentioned, most of the dishes today are have the cashew crema, and since we're deep into fall season, it's all things pumpkin right now. First dish you've brought for us is a pumpkin soup. So tell us, while we dig it.
Yes, absolutely. So soups to me scream locality and seasonality. To me, I don't think there's a better conduit for seasonal flavors than a properly well-executed soups. I mean, in the summer, you've got gazpacho. In the winter, you've got, most people do butternut squash, and I have converted to pumpkin instead of butternut squash because once I realized all the health benefits to it, I never went back. My grandmothers used to make this with fresh pumpkin, and I always loved the idea of using pumpkin for something other than pumpkin pie.
This is amazing.
This is so, I'm freezing, and this is also so warming and
It's
cozy.
warm and full of flavor. It's exploding with flavor.
Ariel, it's so good.
And I think, you know, for flavor, I understand you actually kept the skin on the pumpkin and blended it. How does that happen?
Actually, people don't realize this, but pumpkins are full of nutrients, and the skin is full of carotenoids that your body basically turns into vitamin A, and there's zinc and copper in there, which is good for your glowing skin. So, I mean, it's just, there's so many benefits, lots of fiber, low carb. It's a great substitute for butternut squash.
I love that. So we were talking about your story earlier. So instead of working at Hell's Kitchen, you actually became an executive chef at an upscale Mexican restaurant in New York. So I'm really excited to try this next dish. It's called a grilled cauliflower and corn. Am I going to say this right? Esquites?
Esquites, yes.
Hey, very good.
Okay. Which is basically Mexican street corn, which I'm addicted to. And if it's on a menu, I'm going to order it. It's all the umami flavors. You get spicy, salty, sweet, acid, everything in there. And of course, we've made it a little bit healthier. Instead of doing a spicy mayo, we of course did a cashew crema spicy mayo, and we substituted half of the corn for cauliflower, reducing our carbs. So it's a little guilty pleasure of mine, but a little less guilty pleasure of mine with using the cashew crema.
Wow. So good.
This is excelente. I understand you have a tip for saving some time when preparing it, though?
Absolutely. This is a fun party dish. It's beautiful, nice on a platter. You can always roast your corn and rice it, we call it, when you turn it into cauliflower rice. And you can roast your corn on the cob and cut it off the cob ahead of time. And you can just do a quick saute and toss it with your cashew mayo right before you serve it. And it's always a great crowd pleaser.
Would you be mad at me if I used frozen corn?
No, not at all. Actually, in the winter months, I make this with frozen corn and frozen cauliflower rice because you can't always get corn in the wintertime.
Love that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for saying that. Okay, so Mel is pescatarian. She's going to skip the next dish, but For me, I get to benefit from that. These are your crispy chicken thighs. What's the key to cooking these perfectly?
Chicken thighs to me are far superior to chicken breasts. I think they have more flavor, they're more forgiving.
Correct.
When my kids are running around and I come home and I need to cook dinner, I can throw them in the pan, skid side down, and just let them cook low and slow, walk away for 20 minutes, come back, flip them over, and they never dry out. They just get better and better and better in the pan. And of course, it's served with another sauce using cashew crema today, which we've swapped out the mayo for. So yeah, I mean, chicken thighs, that's where it's at for me.
Okay, I'm doing this with shrimp. So you call this a Peruvian green sauce? What's in it exactly?
So I think this is one of the most addictive sauces on the planet.
Oh, wow.
Again, lots of umami. You usually do it with mayo, but you have an ají amarillo, which is basically a paste, a yellow chili paste. There's cilantro, there's jalapenos, there's lime juice, there's cider vinegar in there. And of course, we've done it without mayo today with the cashew crema. And I think it goes with anything. I keep this in my fridge all the time.
Yeah.
It goes with fish, meat, chicken,
Can I tell you, like,
This
there's
is
no avocado in this?
So good.
You can put avocado in it.
There's none in
nope,
this.
Nope.
Because it feels like a guac, like a really fine
That's the
guac.
crema, right?
And you can do an avocado in it. I also do this with the cashew crema. I do avocado crema. So, you know, just really great ways to eliminate that processed fat.
To die for.
Okay, so your last dish is something that has special meaning for you. Tell us about the story behind it.
So when I think about growing up, the first thing I think about is the first thing I ever made in the kitchen with my grandmothers, and that would be their blackberry pie. And of course, you know, we would make it with Crisco shortening, and you know, the crumble topping is full of butter, full of flour. So I don't know if you know this, but a chocho, which is basically a chayote squash, it eats just like an apple when you cook it. So, and it takes up flavor really well. So when you put all of those pie spices in there, you know, like your cinnamon, your nutmeg, your butter, and all that stuff.
Wow.
This is it, Mel?
It eats just like an apple.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Just
say it tastes like an apple when it's raw, but once it's cooked and it takes on all those flavors, it also works really well when you like shave it and put it in a slaw, kind of like a jicama texture to it. But yeah, this is my healthy take on my grandmother's chocho and black.
Oh
This
my
is
gosh.
delicious.
To die for. Like, please come back over and over and over again, Ariel. Wow. Okay, so viewers at home, we want you to try these delicious recipes. I'm talking to you, Mom, because I know she's watching and she's trying to write it down.
Hi, Mom.
Stop writing, Mama Claire, stop writing. Get your phone out. All you have to do is scan our QR code. Open the camera and just let that pop up. Hit the yellow and a website pops up and ta-da, it's a recipe on your phone. It's gonna be that easy. Ariel, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For having
We'll be
me.
right back.
Thank you so much.
Now, the Spice Kitchen Cookbook, it's available now. But good news for our studio audience, you're all going home.
Hey there, wasn't that great? Do you know where you can find some equally good content? Our YouTube page. It's filled with discussions, debates, and some laughs. Head there now, like and subscribe.